to lose. It's why it attacks anyone who wants to do good so badly. So hard. First off, people really underestimate, and this is intentional, by the religions that have become politicized and are run by evil, for you to have this idea in your head that possession is like The Exorcist, or, there's some stories in the Bible about possession, but you don't really think of possession as, God, I always forget the name of that movie. What is that movie? Oh, keep puppies. Denzel Washington, I think. That had a Azazel demon in it, where it hopped from like person to person. God, I don't know why I can't remember that name. But anyway, it's weird because it's so much more common, but it's not exactly like that either. It's more like there are certain demonic influences that are assigned to you, especially if you're what people call a light worker. If you have whatsoever tried to work on your karma or become a better person, or you want to do the right thing, or you have a mission, like you know you were born with one, like you feel like you're meant to help people in some way, you want to leave the planet better than you found it, let's say that, okay, keep it simple. If that's your determination, evil has everything to lose with you being in this world, everything. And so it's going to come at you with everything it's got. But if you learn how to be spiritually accountable and powerful, and you're prayed up, and some of us that become more and more shamanic and more like medicine and spiritual people, I mean, we take it seriously. You might, Christians will laugh at us sometimes, but some of this stuff was in the book too, like anointing oil and things. Like, I mean, before I go out, I have, my protection oils on, and certain other scents that are protective. I have, and my protection oil is strong. I hand make it, and I mean, you do not want to fuck with that stuff, okay? Because it will forcibly remove you if it has to. It's that powerful. And then, I wear all my jewelry has an intention. There's nothing that I don't wear that doesn't have an intention. And it's weird how you'll have people almost make fun of you, like, because you're wearing seashells, or because you're wearing a hagstone or anything, or, a water buffalo tooth or anything. And they're just, what is that? You have a Hamza or anything on, people, like, it's like they don't, people are so easily, like, tools when they're not self-aware. And I have protective runes written on me. And I pray up like nobody's business before I go. I get centered. I'll cleanse with selenite. I will do so many things. It's not funny. Because I understand that every single day is a spiritual war. Why? Because every single day, I'm determined to make this place better than I left it. And I'm not going to go out without a fight. And like I've said before, even when I die, I will still keep fighting. I have zero intention of fluttering off to some higher dimension and forgetting about this place. Not until every tear is wiped from every eye and no one is suffering. And I'm talking about animals too. And that's just who I am. I am that I am. I'm not going to be able to change who I am. I've always been this way. It's who I am. And because of it, I'm going to have things try to fuck with me, obviously. Because it doesn't want you shining. I mean, my whole life, it's like I have such a bright light inside of me that I shine so bright that it irritates people. You know how they say that? Like, your light will irritate their demons and whatnot. Well, there's a lot of people that do. You see them, they light up a room. My grandmother was like that. When they walk in, and it's like the energy just lifts up, right? Well, I've noticed that a lot of times, those of us that have that kind of energy, holy crap, the hell that we've been through. It's not like life was easy for us. I mean, the hell that we have been through. And I've been through so much abuse and near-death experiences, it's not funny. And my grandmother went through so much death of losing so many people she loved. I'm talking like siblings and parents and children too young, and she still shined. She never gave up on her love for the Creator. And she always encouraged me to keep the light in my eyes and not to let anything put that out. And it's so strange when my own parents often try to, because they don't even have it. And I've noticed that the less you go through, like, it's really sad, but I've noticed people that go through the least amount of, like, damage seem to be the most complacent and cruel and condescending and lack empathy. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't feel like you need to suffer in order to have love, because I was born full of love. And if anything, for a while, the suffering makes you worse until you learn how to unlearn the baggage that people put on you and the labels they put on you, and you refuse to become what people want to make you. But the point I was going to get at with, like, the low-hanging fruit and, like, people being possessed, like, demons can hop in and out of people all the time, okay? Like, get it out of your mind that they cannot. And the reason why I'm saying that is not to make people paranoid, not to be a fear monger. It's nothing to be afraid of. But you have to be aware. Like, if you want to stay ignorant, it's just like people that are scared of spiders. You want to pretend there's not a spider in almost every corner of your house to make yourself feel better? Go right ahead. The spider's still there. You know, people don't want to know that there's negative entities out there because it just scares them, and it's like, because you don't claim any spiritual authority. And I have gone over this before too, and I will consistently weave it into my teachings because it's imperative that the Creator release free will energy. The resurrection, or the crucifixion of Christ is more symbolic than anything. Not saying he didn't suffer then, but what I am saying is the Creator suffered from the get-go when he released energy for us, because he knew how much we would cause pain and suffering, and he knew how much would suffer, but he had to release it in order for us to have free will, to be actual individual beings, to not just be controlled. And yes, we're corralled and conditioned, and basically powers and principalities try to control our destiny. Of course they do, but they're not our Creator. The Creator wants us to be free, wants us to fly. And this is why this spiritual battle is so important, because our wings have been clipped, we've been put in a rusty cage, we've been starved, we've been beaten, we've been told to sing a nice little dirge while we're still alive, and then we wonder why we cry and why we're suffering when we're supposed to fly. We're supposed to be free to fly. Oftentimes it's our own parents and the people closest to us that clip our wings. And the thing is like, this free will energy, like, evil knows that it's free, that it's neutral energy for all to have at. It knows. That's why it tries to keep y'all from knowing. It kept me from knowing for the longest time. That's why the law of attraction crowd, even though there's so much wrong, they get so much wrong. The Hermeticism, they get so much wrong. But at least what they do get right, because in half-truths there's always lies. But if you can find the truth in it and look beyond the lies, get to the meat of it, and understand where the concepts came from, that there is free neutral energy for you to use as you see fit. It's not always going to work out the way you want. Oftentimes, if you're a conceited fool and you're trying to use this stuff, it is always going to backfire on you. But you have to choose to take authority. You have to choose to wield it, because evil's doing it all the time. And if you are a spiritual being, if you are prayed up, if you're chosen, if you have ancestors and a Creator, and you're heavily protected because you have a purpose. Sometimes there's people out there who are somewhat oblivious to their being called or chosen, and they still are so heavily protected, and they don't know why. But that's because there's a purpose they have to serve, And so what evil does is it goes for the low-hanging fruit. It's gotten to where we just eye roll the things that we go through, my daughter and I, because we know it's low-hanging fruit. We're too protected and prayed up for it to really get to us. So it goes for little things. Since energy flows in the path of least resistance is going to try to hit wherever it's the easiest to hit you. Okay? And it's the same thing with, like, say, hauntings. Like, if you have, you ever notice how, like, when people are always scared of ghosts and things, it's always easy things that they can do, like, you know, a piece of paper falls down, or like a door squeaks, or, you know, it's easy stuff usually. It's a path of least resistance. It's the easiest thing to move. Well, these demons do hop into people. And you can look at it more like demonic influence, if you like, rather than possession, because the kind of possessions that you hear throughout history is like an infestation, like where it's latched in, like where it's actually literally stitched to that person's body and soul, and it will not let go, like a tick, right? But you also have mosquitoes that hit bam, in and out fast, okay? And these things do this intentionally to fuck with you, to wear you out and exhaust you. And you've got to remember that the ruling class is evil. It's based on a monetary system that's evil. Remind you that our entire stock market is based off of commodity trading and starving 2/3 of the world. So, you know, your 401ks and everything else is all blood money. It's so evil, it's not funny. And you cannot stay ignorant. But, like, the ruling class, they just copy their fathers. They just copy the evil that is pretty much giving them their power. And they do the same thing. They try to wear us out and inundate us. Like, we have all of those spammy ads. Like, YouTube is one of the worst about having really disgusting shit ads. I mean, really shitty. You know, not just when you're watching, but, like, if you're scrolling on your, like, laptop or anything, it's all the freaking AI, like, digitalized, you know, porn-looking stuff or something. And I'm a asexual mom, for crying out loud. Like, I don't need to see the titty ladies, you know? But they're trying to see, number one, if you have a camera, they're watching to see how you react, because they're like taking note of everything to see what gets to you, what turns you on, what turns you off, what makes you mad. And then number two, they're just wearing you down. That's why if you notice so many ads on YouTube don't lead to anything. Like the ones that you watch, just be random stuff that you know is not even really something that they sell. It's made up. And you know that YouTube is owned by Google, and I'm sure some of you know by now that Google's pretty much owned by CIA. So is Facebook. It's DARPA's LifeLog, okay? I used to call Facebook CIA book. Now I just call it LifeLog, you know, once I found out all that stuff, and I don't use it, and I keep thinking I'm going to create another one, mostly just so I can be in connection with other people. It's so irritating to me that we're forced to use this stuff where they know it's evil. They know it is. It's evil. And with Google being run pretty much by the government, the pro, Zionist Synagogue of Satan government, the Rothschild government, which, use that R word and you always seem to get banned and shadow banned and never get any views. You can say Rockefeller and get mad at Rockefeller all day long. You can even get mad at BlackRock, which is like who owns Trump. But if you bring up the other R word, man, you get in trouble, okay? And so, anyway, they do the same thing. They're trying to wear us out, exhaust us, low-hanging fruit, because they're weak and they're cowards. It takes a lot of courage to love. It takes a lot of courage to choose to adopt an animal or have a child and choose to raise it and bring it up in this world, not knowing if you can feed it tomorrow. It takes a lot of courage. It is not for the weak of heart. It is so painful. But we do it anyway because we're not fucking cowards. So anyway, the reason why I bring this up is it's weird because you'll have days where you notice more than not, like when, like people will just they're so out of character in the way they behave. Now some people, it's obvious that demonic things hop in them all the time. Like they probably have some latched to them. And I've noticed with some narcissistic people, it's almost like the demons will go dormant because the demons don't want to do any work. Like they're not going to go to work and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They just wait till it gets good, and then the lights come on, and all of a sudden they're awake, and they start wreaking havoc on everything. But it's weird because, like, I don't know. Sometimes you'll have days where you notice people are just such tools. And because they don't self-reflect, they don't stop to ask, why am I saying what I'm saying? Why am I doing what I am doing? And they just literally lash out at people and do the most awful things. And it's because they're weak. They're spiritually weak. They don't have any walls up. They don't have any boundaries. They don't have any character. What would you call it? Integrity, you know? So it's so easy for evil to hop in them and, you know, cause trouble for those who do have integrity. And you'll see it happen because it doesn't even look like there's a soul behind their eyes, and the things they say and do are so bizarre. I mean, sometimes it's just weird stuff. Evil doesn't always just try to hurt you. It needs to wear you down. So it'll just be weird stuff. They'll do weird things. The way people do when they're on drugs. Because, of course, when they're on drugs, it's easier to be possessed. And like I said, you can call it influence if you want. But, I mean, they don't even know why they're saying or doing what they're doing. They really don't. And that's why it's like possession. And it's creepy. But you have to let it roll off your back. You cannot let it get to you. You know, like whenever I have a rough day, like where it's just, you getting popped over and over again by those mosquitoes, man, I just start singing to myself like, devil is a hoe, Lucy is a lie. Lucy is a hoe, devil is a lie. Like Lucy for Lucifer, you know? And no, I'm not buying the whole inky shit that somehow he loves us, because as much as he put his dick in everything, that's not love. Okay, and he didn't fucking create us. He just tweaked DNA. So if they're the same thing, it doesn't make it better for me. It just makes people look like more tools and pawns, that they're actually going to believe something loves you because it likes to put his dick in stuff and tweak with DNA. Like, who thinks that way? Probably the same men that also want to do the same thing and consider the same thing love. You know, there's a lot of people worshiping Lucy right now because of that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see what you like to do behind closed doors. I get it. I mean, there's a lot of Luciferian cults that literally drink baby's blood and stuff. You know them by their fruit. So, really? Like, that's what you're going to associate with? Okay. Anyway, I will literally just sing that. And then I'll be singing this silly devil song, like, I got the joy in my heart, and if the devil don't like it, he can sit on attack. Like, I'll start doing anything like that to annoy him. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to put up with this shit. It's like, you're not going to get me down. No. And even when it does end up, like, I take beatings all the time. I'm used to taking hits. When it does become enough, like, usually it's, you know, the people that you know that you're the closest to that hurt you the most. Not these random, as they call it, randos or whatever, just walking around causing trouble. It's the people that you know that manipulate and harm you intentionally. And I noticed, like, with me, it's not people treating me bad that hurts. It's actually when people back me up that it triggers the sappy side of me, because I'm so used to having no help. I'm so used to having, like, zero help. You know, every time I really needed my parents, they were never there for me. When I knew my first husband was a meth addict, and I realized a little too late, and he was getting abusive, and I thought he might kill me, I begged to come home, and they're like, nope. And when I begged them to let me go back to school or have a job, nope, stay home and homeschool kids. And, you know, every time I begged for something, I had no help. And my dad raised me, he's like, I'm a Marine, damn it, and this is a man's world, you need to be tough and strong like me. And then the next minute, he was like, sorry, strong women are not loved by men, they're too difficult. Men don't like you because you're too difficult and independent. You need to learn to be submissive and soft and not talk too much like your mother. And so, like, this is the kind of, like, mixed signals I was always getting. So I was always kind of taught, and plus my parents are so emotionally unavailable, like most boomers were. You know, they think they're better than their parents and their kids. Like, they're, like, the most narcissistic generation in existence. And, like, I was not allowed to feel. I really wasn't. Anytime I cried or anything as a kid, you know, they would both get on to me and tell me that I'm too emotional, that I'm too dramatic, that I don't have the right to feel, that I need to learn how to suck it up and not live by my emotions, to be more logical. They're coming from water signs, by the way. I have 2 air stelliums, okay? And yeah, I have a Scorpio ascendant, but I mean, the amount of air in my chart, like, I do not get that emotional very often. I'm usually so logical and rational, it's not funny. That's what I piss so many people off, because I'm so logical that I assume they're logical too. And so when I talk with logic, people get offended and they want to rip my head off. And so, like, my parents and my brother are all water signs, and they're all so emotional, and they're all such tools. And, like, I was consistently told I wasn't allowed to feel. Suck it up, buttercup. You know, after I was raped, like, suck it up. Don't talk about it. Get over it. 2 different times that happened to me. You know, eventually you quit telling your parents when you get raped. And so, like, I mean, I went through so much of that I just... And my partners were never available, you know. The guy I had kids with couldn't even tell me he loved me or was proud of me or kissed me on the forehead when I gave birth to his kids. This was the guy that literally sold his soul to get me. I mean, it's insane. Like, he had to have me, you know. And so, long story short, like, I'm not used to having people or having support. So, like, whenever people are like, you know, yeah, we got your back, and, you know, like, then I want to cry. Then I'm a big sap. Like, I'm like, oh, I got the feels now. What are you being nice to me for? I don't know. The Grinch inside of me is starting to feel like a little warm and fuzzy in there. Because, like, I'm really not used to that. I am so used to having to be so independent, but yet not show it. Because, you know, my dad would psychologically beat me. If you show your independence as a woman, you're a bad woman. But you also need to be independent because no one's going to be there for you. So it's like, I don't know. I like, when I've dealt with crackheads at work, you know, I've had other, like, women be like, I'm not afraid to yell at them and tell them to get out. And I'm like, yeah, I used to be like that. But, you know, I've literally been beaten up and jumped and almost killed by crackheads. So it's like, I don't really want to engage in that, you know? And so it's real easy to be tough until you've almost been killed multiple times, and then you have PTSD and your muscle memory kicks in. It's like, logically I'm fine, but my body might start shaking and stuff. I can't help it. It's just muscle memory. It's PTSD. It is what it is. And it's so weird how little PTSD is actually talked about when it comes to women and civilians in general. It's like, soldier PTSD, especially among men, is given so much attention that it's almost like, well, women aren't really allowed to have it because it happened to you. You were just raped. You didn't see suffering of others, so there. And it's like, you know, we can't help it that we have PTSD. When you've been pinned down and beaten and choked and your head bashed in the floor and, like, so many things happen to you, after a while, yeah, you get PTSD, you know? But I'm telling you, like, the weakness in me, I guess, is still, I'm glad I have it. That, you know, I become sappy when people are nice to me. Like, I had someone who was a real shit to me, that was a customer, and, like, all the customers afterward just, like, apologizing and being like, oh, I hope your day gets better. And it's like, so many people were so good to me that you're just like, wow, and my manager has my back. You know, it's sad because he's young. He's in his 20s. And he's nicer to me than my husband's ever were, or my own father. I'm like, holy fuck. Talk about, like, having daddy issues myself, right? And the men in my life can never even do that for me. Ever. They can never have my back. What is that? What is up with my generation? Like the older millennials that are almost like Gen Xers, the Gen X and the boomers. Like, what is wrong with the men in that generation? They're so fucking jaded, man. Like, they're so, like, I'm just like, girls, don't date older men. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, I promise you, if you're young, the men in your generation are so much more well-rounded. And I know, like, you know, the older people are like, oh, they don't know what gender they are, and they don't know, and like, they go nuts over it. I'm like, look, I've worked with other young men at other jobs, and most people under the age of 20 are so much nicer. Granted, especially if they're not white. I know that sounds awful, but, like, I've noticed some of the white people I work with that are young still have some major attitude problems. And I don't know if it's just in our culture. It's like the government did a really good job of not only whitewashing, like, white people, but completely erasing our history, our culture, who we were before we were Romanized and Britanized. You know, all of our Gaelic and Celtic roots and our Nordic roots and anything that was, like free or wild or respected women even a drop more. Like, that's just all gone. And when you lose your culture, you know, the people are really easy to manipulate. And so, like, I've still had some younger people that are white that are really rude, you know, and just kind of snippy, and some of them are flat out crazy. But I don't know, man. Older people, like, a lot of older women are kind of creepy too. But like, this whole low-hanging fruit thing, if you kind of see it from that perspective, and when you're taking a lot of hits, right? I've said this before too, but give that as an offering to your creator. I know the Gita has mentioned that. I've had other people tell me to do that before. People that have learned how to become more spiritually wise and whatnot really do learn how to give their pain, give their suffering to their creator as an offering. And make it announced, make it legit. Like, you know, tell evil no. Learn how to have your free will energy and your autonomy spiritually, not just physically. But tell evil, no, sorry, you can't feed off of my pain and my suffering. I know that that's what you guys run off of. You can't have it. I'm giving it to my creator. And he's going to use it to kick your ass. So, you're fucked. You know, like, literally learn how to make sure they don't take your energy. I don't care if they wear you out. I mean, I get worn out some days. I am just pummeled. Give it to your maker as an offering. If you have nothing else to offer, give that to him and your ancestors, and ask them to make something good out of it, if that's all you have. Because you can't give up and you can't give in. And there's times when we want to be so mad at our creator because we can't understand why he keeps sacrificing us, our children, the little ones. Why is there so much suffering? If you haven't asked those questions, you haven't been around long enough, or you've been too coddled. Because, you know, we've seen way too much suffering. Maybe you need to go sit in Gaza somewhere. Maybe you need to actually have enough empathy to see all the suffering just down a highway with all the animals that are hit and run over, and the sadness in the eyes of animals when they're trying to eat another dead animal and you're driving towards it. I'm sorry, but the suffering that's going on right now is not okay. Sometimes I want to be mad about it, but I know that the creator could not choose any other thing than this. He could, but then he wouldn't be who he is. Had to release their free will energy. Energy goes in the path of least resistance, and this is where we've landed. And we have to take accountability and responsibility. You know, these nuts preaching about raptures and things, they want to get out of jail free card. Good luck with that. Yeah, you'll get raptured up to some prison planet. You'll be some alien's butt buddy for the rest of your life, you know. I highly doubt it's actually going to be what John Hagee and them say, because I feel like the actual awakening is from within. It's from within. If we all were to truly wake up, like if we all woke up enough where more of us knew than not, the shift of energy would force this entire place to change and become immortal all at once. That's all it takes. It's the simple fact that, you know, we have to choose with free will energy. We have to choose. We have to be awake. We have to be aware. Right now, so few of us are doing that. And because of that, we get taken up oftentimes, shift into other dimensions, other realms, other worlds. And sometimes we don't come back because you get worn out and you get tired of trying. And having the courage to come back here, and you know you came here as a light worker to make a difference, like, we are on the front lines. We are doing the hardest work that one can do, trying to shift this energy in a world that is failing miserably right now. The animals are too innocent. They know not what they do. So many of these dumb people, they get temporarily possessed. They know not what they do. They're so not self-aware. And so we have a lot of energy out there that is literally just going in the path of least resistance. We have a lot against us because evil knows exactly what it's doing and exactly what it wants. And it knows its time is short. And it knows that if we wake up and know who we are and choose not to leave and choose to fight, they're fucked. They know it. Because where are they going to go? If they can't feed off of us, if we say no to letting them feed off of our pain, they die. They eternally, spiritually die. People think there's a special place in hell where you're tormented forever. That's a load of shit. Because if you're disconnected from your creator without it being fed by the source of the creator, which is love and light, you die. You cease to exist. And so if we stop letting these bastards feed off of us, they don't exist. That's why they have everything to lose. That is why they go at us with everything they've got. That's why we are tired, broken, and exhausted, because we are on the precipice. We are so damn close to shifting the tides. And you can feel it and you can smell it in the air. And they know it. And that's the reason why they come at us. And, I don't know. Maybe I should wrap it up there. That was pretty good, wasn't it? Not afraid to admit it. I do think that you should stay, of course, vigilant. Stay aware of your surroundings. And if it's like petty things, obviously, just kind of let it roll off your back. Roll with the punches, as my grandmother used to say. Because these people know not what they do. You can say that most of the time. You can pray for them if you want. You can curse them if you want. Nothing wrong with cursing assholes. I know people try to, like, you know, make you feel afraid of that, because if you're really a good person deep down, you know, you will blah, 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 blah. Just, no, I'm sorry. Sometimes they need a good cursing so that their soul can be saved. Okay? Like, it's the only chance they get. Either you can choose to be saved, like, be a good person, get better, get into spiritual shape, or just suffer on your way out. Because some things do need a nice little curse. And even if you don't curse them, they pretty much curse themselves whenever they fuck you over. Especially if you're, like, you know, heavily protected, anointed, what have you. I mean, I don't know, but I've seen people get really fucked up whenever they do bad things to me, you know. I was in social services, and, like, these women, like, the things they said and did about me behind my back and everything else, I mean, they got jumped, they got beat up, their cars are breaking down, they were getting flat tires, everything bad that you could think of was happening to them. And I'm thinking, can you not take a hint that Spirit's trying to tell you to back off of me? I knew when my friends burnt down, like, I don't know how many acres of a place we used to like hanging out. When I saw the smoke in the sky, I knew it was them. And it's because they had fucked with me. I didn't do anything, you know. I didn't curse them. I didn't return sender or anything. So, like, when you piss me off enough where I do that, you're really fucked. Because I've had enough by then. And, I don't know. Like, I know, like, one time I had a coworker when I worked at the tours, and she was starting to talk shit about me and try to turn other people against me. Within a couple of days, she broke her arm. Another girl talking shit about me at work, she starts having a nosebleed. I mean, it's like, you cannot fuck with those of us that have a mission, because you're getting in the way. And so if you're getting in the way of someone that has a mission, like, all you're doing is hurting yourself. And evil ought to know this, but don't ask a dying cause why it rages all the way down. The more it tries to hurt me, the more it hurts itself. It's so stupid that they'll do this. If they would just stay quiet or avoid me, they'd fare better. Because then I wouldn't freaking, like, know what I'm fighting. I wouldn't be fighting so hard. It's them attacking me that has created me. You know what I'm saying? The more that they go after me and my light, like, they can't stand the idea of me shining my light or teaching people. So they're trying so hard to put me out. But the more they put me out, the more I observe and learn what the enemy's tactics are, and the more I freaking narc on their asses, and the more they hurt themselves at the same time. Because whatever you try to take from me, I get to have yours instead. It's like, if you're, you know, trying to, like, take my money, or if you're trying to take my destiny, you're just going to give me what could have been yours. I'm sorry, but you literally just destroy yourself when you do those things. And evil just, it's not ever going to do the right thing, because evil's stupid. You have to be stupid to choose evil. You gotta be stupid as fuck to choose evil. Why? Because you literally bet on a fucking dead horse. Like dead. Because evil can't be alive without feeding off of us. I just can't believe it. It's like my parents. I can't understand why you would, like, sell your daughter's virginity. Like, all of a sudden he has enough money to quit his day job for a while and stuff. Like, okay, yep, you're not gonna be screwed when you get old. Like, no. These people just don't think before they do things. My ex, he was so determined to, like, to sell his soul to get what he wanted and get money and get the girl and get the house and get everything, the nuclear family. And like now he's paying for it, quite literally, financially and everything else. Like he's been through a bit and freaking almost cracked his face. Actually did crack his face open. He was trying to do like black magic and get me killed, and he freaking literally fell flat on his face and broke almost every single piece of his face. Had his mouth wired shut for a while. That was ironic. Don't you think? His truck broke down, lost his job, all in like the same week or so. Like, it was like, dude, like you really gotta stop trying to get me killed. Quit trying to curse me, because you're only hurting yourself. Like, I don't know why evil does what it does. It just keeps doing it. It won't stop. Like, I'm kind of like over it. Like, sometimes you're just like, I'm so done. You know, like you're so over. Like, you want to just go snort. Like, I'm so over it. But I don't know. Anyway, I thought that would be an interesting conversation, because I would like you guys to practice being aware of your surroundings. And spiritually, you know, I was taught how to do so physically by my dad, but because he prided himself on that alpha, I know my surroundings shit, right? But do it spiritually, like where the real battle is. Anyway, I have made it to work, so I'm hoping I can get me some earbuds soon that have a little mic on them, so maybe you'll be able to hear me better. Talk to you next time.